Intellectual Property is proudly brought to you by Adams and Adams, rooted in 100 years of excellence in intellectual property law.
Good evening and welcome to the Intellectual Property Show. We state the case every week for the transformation of our resource-driven economy to a knowledge economy. Well, Finland now has its biggest global investment in the knowledge economy development in South Africa. I have the pleasure of having two Finnish ladies in the studio to talk about Finland's role in South Africa's knowledge economy. Welcome, Helena and Kristina.
Thank you.
Thanks. Helena, let's start off with you. Why is Finland so involved in South Africa?
Well, Finland has been historically involved in South African. We have supported already in the era of apartheid South Africa, but we also now looked at South Africa as a country where we could bring in a transfer of knowledge of our knowledge economy.
Well, you rate it as one of the most competitive and innovative societies, and the lessons from that you are trying to apply here also in South Africa.
Yes. Actually, South Africa is currently the first country where Finland has a large cluster of programs in science and technology and ICT for development. So South Africa is a case study for us and very important sort of opening this new information society and science and technology program package.
Practically speaking, when you talk about the programs, give us some ideas of the different programs that you have in South Africa.
Yes, we have 4 programs almost running right now. The first one we started is called COFISA. It's National Innovation System Program between Finland and South Africa. So in that program we like to share the experience of Finland in building innovation system, national and provincial innovation system.
So that's very much at a macroeconomic level, seeing how the different instruments should work together, or the policy environment and so forth.
Yes, and it's directed like how can you use as knowledge as resource to enhance economic growth and employment and evidently social development. So I think it's quite difficult for many people to understand what the innovation system is, but it's basically looking at different organizations or institutions in society and their role actually in producing information and collaborating, R&D, research organizations, how they all work together to enhance the knowledge capacity of a country or knowledge base.
Okay. Before we go to the other programs, let me first turn to you, Kristina, and ask you. I know that you've very recently arrived in South Africa, and you are heading up the second program, which is the SAFIPA program. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, actually, I'm not sure if it's the second one, but yes, SAFIPA is starting, and that's a knowledge partnership program on ICT between South Africa and Finland.
And what would be the implications of this program? How would you go about rolling it out?
Well, that's what we are finding out now, but the idea is to work with existing projects and programs and also to see if we can help start the new ones. The main components are creating applications and services on ICT for the normal citizens. So the idea is to target not the high-end services, but the normal South African citizens. And
so
then,
just to clarify, so what you would do is to actually make funding available and coordinate the collaboration around the development of services, ICT-based services that would be of use to me as a citizen. So, for example, in education, learning, and so forth.
Yes, that's correct. But also one part of the project is to help create a society where this is easier. So we can also be on the macro level as well, but we can also help projects that are trying to create an application, let's say, for deaf people.
Okay, very good. Helena, some of the other programs?
Yes, we also are supporting your National Information Society Plan, PNC on ISAD, which I understand was approved last year as a national plan to develop information society. And the pillars of that program in your national plan are e-education or e-learning, e-commerce, e-government, support to SMEs and so on and so forth. So what Finland program is doing We are funding is the program in Limpopo and Northern Cape, and we are supporting the provincial information society development.
Okay.
So these are kind of case studies and the first provinces in your country where we are looking at how we can actually implement this national plan and then bring experience back to the national plan.
Okay. So these programs so far are very much focused on ICT. Do you have other programs beyond ICT?
Yes, we are starting a fourth one, which is actually with NEPAD. It's a Southern Africa regional program, and it is supporting a research network on biosciences. We are looking at HIV, AIDS research, fishery, and we are also looking at mushroom research.
Okay.
So we are looking at all those in 12 countries, so it's building a research network in Southern African countries. But it's the hub of that program is here in CSIR in Pretoria.
Kristina, just from your perspective, looking at the Finnish experience, what are the lessons that you've learned in Finland that are very relevant to a South African environment? I mean, Finland is very much a first world economy, highly developed. South Africa, a more rural society. We've got a gap between the first and the second economy. How do you intend to apply those learning lessons to South Africa?
Well, I hope to have some effect on the structures that you have in place. I think in some instances there's not enough risk-taking here, and you have to be able to accept failure if you want to really succeed. So I'm hoping to install some of that culture into the project as well.
Okay. And Helena, from your side, what have you learned in working with, especially on the COFISA side, that's been running for about 2 years?
Well, I think we have learned, there has been a lot of learning exchange between, South African experts have been to Finland and Finnish experts have been here.
Okay.
So I think a lot of information sharing has taken place. And particularly, I'm really happy of my working in these programs, actually looking
Yes.
over these programs, is that it is actually about capacity building. And we are particularly looking at in knowledge economy, capacity building in your country. And there's there are many initiatives going on. So there's a lot of activities taking place. And so I think that with these programs, we have been able to do some interventions, collaboration that will remain after these programs will end by 2011.
So there's transfer, and it's being institutionalized, as you mean, in terms of the culture and so forth.
Yeah, transfer knowledge, sharing experiences. And we are not saying that the Finnish model of innovation system is, for example, number one in the world, but we are very happy because the international indicators, for example, show that competitiveness, transparency, collaboration, all of those components, for example, are in place, and there's an outcome of that, so that you can actually see results when you put those in place.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
First, for being in the studio, and secondly, also for taking this interest in South Africa. And I believe it will have a lasting impact also on the future of this country. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's all we have time for tonight. Let me just wrap up by saying also, if you want to have more information about COFISA, you can go and visit their website. It's cofisa.org.za. And I know for a fact also that COFISA has got some funding available if you want to visit Finland for knowledge exchange, if you want to increase business collaboration. That's all available on the COFISA website. Until next time, from me, Stefan Lamprecht, it's good evening.
Intellectual Property was proudly brought to you by Adams and Adams, rooted in 100 years of excellence in intellectual property law.